Don't believe. Introduction. Imagine for a moment how freeing it would feel to let go of stress, self-doubt, and the need for control. Joseph Nguyen, the author of Don't Believe Everything You Think, invites you on a transformative journey to uncover the truth about your thoughts. Nguyen's book focuses on the profound idea that our thoughts, rather than reality itself, are often the source of our unhappiness. This summary distills his insights into manageable takeaways to help you embrace peace of mind and clarity in your everyday life. Think of this as a guide to the book's essence. While we'll touch on key ideas from each chapter, there's no substitute for the depth and personal connection you'll experience when reading the full text. So, if this resonates with you, consider diving deeper by picking up the book. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Root of Unhappiness. Have you ever stopped to wonder why you feel unhappy? It's easy to blame your job, relationships, or the never-ending list of things you need to do. But Joseph Nguyen argues that unhappiness doesn't come from these external situations. Instead, it stems from the way you think about them. It's a powerful idea, isn't it? The rain doesn't ruin your day. Your thoughts about the rain do. The root of unhappiness is not life itself, but the stories your mind creates about it. Nguyen explains that your mind is like a projector, casting your thoughts onto the screen of reality. The problem is, most of these thoughts are inaccurate or exaggerated. Think about the last time you assumed someone was upset with you, only to find out later that they weren't. That's your mind's habit of interpreting events in ways that fuel stress and negativity. What if you could step back and recognize that these thoughts are just that, thoughts? Nguyen encourages you to see them as temporary and separate from your true self. By doing so, you stop identifying with every negative idea that pops into your head. Imagine holding a glass of muddy water. If you set it down and wait, the dirt settles and the water becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. When you stop engaging with every thought, clarity and peace naturally emerge. The key takeaway from this chapter is simple yet profound. You are not your thoughts. Happiness doesn't come from changing your circumstances. It comes from changing your relationship with your mind. Instead of trying to fix the world around you, focus on observing your thoughts without judgment. This small shift can transform how you experience life. Chapter 2. Thoughts as Clouds. Imagine looking up at the sky on a breezy day. Clouds drift by, some fluffy and white, others dark and heavy. Now, think of your thoughts as those clouds. They appear, linger for a moment, and then disappear. But here's the catch. Instead of letting them pass, you often grab onto those dark clouds and carry them with you. Sound familiar? In this chapter, Nguyen explains that thoughts are not permanent or personal. They come and go, like visitors passing through your home. The trouble begins when you invite them to stay. Let's say you're sitting at work and suddenly think, I'm not good enough for this job. It's just a thought, but if you believe it, it snowballs into feelings of self-doubt and anxiety. By the end of the day, you're convinced you're a failure, all because you held on to one fleeting idea. Nguyen introduces the practice of observing your thoughts without attaching meaning to them. Picture yourself sitting by a stream, watching leaves float by. Each leaf is a thought. You don't chase the leaves or hold on to them. You simply let them flow. This perspective helps you realize that thoughts are not facts. They're just mental events, no more significant than clouds or leaves. The freedom comes when you stop trying to control your thoughts or make them go away. Instead, You learn to coexist with them, knowing they don't define you. This chapter invites you to embrace a lighter approach to thinking, where you no longer feel trapped by every passing idea. When you treat thoughts like clouds, they lose their power to cloud your happiness. Chapter 3. The Illusion of Control. Let's face it, you probably like to feel in control. Who doesn't? Whether it's planning your day, managing your career, or even trying to influence how others see you, control gives a sense of security. But here's the catch. The more you try to control life, the more you feel anxious and overwhelmed. It's like trying to hold onto water with your bare hands. No matter how hard you grip, it slips through your fingers. Nguyen challenges the belief that control equals happiness. He points out that life is inherently unpredictable, and the illusion of control is what causes stress. Think about it. Have you ever planned something perfectly, only for it to go completely differently? That frustration comes from resisting reality. Instead of flowing with life, you're fighting against it. This chapter teaches you the art of surrender. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the need to control everything. Imagine being on a river. You can exhaust yourself by paddling upstream, or you can let the current carry you. When you surrender to the flow of life, you find peace in the present moment. Nguyen shares practical ways to practice surrender. For instance, the next time something doesn't go as planned, pause and remind yourself, I don't have to control this situation. Accepting uncertainty doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop resisting. This shift frees up mental energy to focus on what truly matters. The illusion of control is just that, an illusion. By letting go, you discover a deeper sense of freedom and trust in life's natural rhythm. This chapter invites you to release your grip and experience the peace that comes with flowing instead of forcing. Chapter 4. Awareness is key. Have you ever gone through a day on autopilot, only to realize you barely noticed what was happening around you? It's easy to get lost in your thoughts, replaying the past or worrying about the future. Nguyen calls this the opposite of awareness, and it's a major barrier to inner peace. Awareness, he explains, is the simple act of noticing, of being fully present with your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. Think of awareness as shining a flashlight in a dark room. When you turn it on, you see what's been hidden, your patterns, habits, and beliefs. This light doesn't judge. It simply illuminates. For example, the next time you feel stressed, try pausing and asking yourself, what am I thinking right now? You might discover that your mind is racing with what-if scenarios. By becoming aware of these thoughts, you take the first step toward breaking their hold on you. Nguyen emphasizes that awareness isn't about changing or suppressing your thoughts. It's about observing them without judgment. Imagine watching cars drive by on a busy road. You don't chase after them. You simply notice them. This detachment helps you see your thoughts for what they are. Temporary, often irrational, and not worth clinging to. One powerful practice Nguyen suggests is mindfulness meditation. Even a few minutes a day can help you cultivate awareness. Sit quietly, focus on your breath, and notice when your mind wanders. Each time you bring your attention back to the present, you strengthen your ability to stay aware. Awareness is the key to freedom because it creates space between you and your thoughts. In that space, you realize you have a choice, to engage with your thoughts or to let them go. This chapter is an invitation to turn on the flashlight of awareness and rediscover the peace that's always been within you. Chapter 5. The Inner Critic. You're likely familiar with that voice in your head, the one that second-guesses your decisions, points out your flaws, and sometimes seems to undermine your confidence at every turn. Joseph Nguyen calls this voice the inner critic, and he suggests it's one of the biggest barriers to your peace of mind. But here's the secret: the inner critic isn't real. It's just another thought. Imagine a loudspeaker constantly playing in the background, criticizing everything you do. At first, it feels personal, but Nguyen explains that the inner critic is simply a manifestation of fear and insecurity. It wants to protect you by keeping you small and avoiding risks. For example, if you're about to try something new, your inner critic might say, "You'll fail, so why bother?" It's not malicious. It's just misguided. Nguyen suggests disarming the inner critic by treating it like background noise. Picture yourself at a noisy cafe. You can't turn off the chatter, but you can choose to focus on your conversation rather than the din around you. Similarly, when your inner critic pipes up, acknowledge it without giving it power. You might think, "Oh, there's that voice again," and then redirect your attention to something constructive. Compassion is another tool Nguyen encourages. Instead of battling your inner critic, approach it with kindness. Recognize that it's trying to protect you, even if it's doing so in a harmful way. This compassionate detachment helps you stop taking the voice so seriously. By learning to coexist with your inner critic rather than fighting it, you reduce its influence over your life. The inner critic will always have something to say, but you get to decide whether to listen. This chapter is a reminder that you are not your inner critic, and its judgments do not define you. Chapter 6. The Power of Presence. Think about how much time you spend lost in thought, replaying the past, worrying about the future, or mentally checking off your to-do list. Nguyen explains that this constant mental activity pulls you away from the only moment that truly exists, the present. When you're fully present, you tap into a sense of peace that can't be found anywhere else. Being present is simple, but not always easy. Nguyen offers a practical metaphor. Imagine holding a snow globe. When you shake it, the snow swirls around, obscuring the scene inside. But when you set the globe down and let it rest, the snow settles, and the picture becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. Presence allows the mental snow to settle, revealing clarity and calm. One way to practice presence is by focusing on your senses. Right now, notice what you see, hear, or feel around you. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight on your skin or the sound of a bird chirping outside. These small moments anchor you to the here and now. Nguyen also suggests using your breath as a tool for presence. Your breath is always with you, and paying attention to it helps quiet the noise in your mind. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try this. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale slowly. Notice how the act of breathing pulls you back to the present. The power of presence lies in its simplicity. It doesn't solve your problems, but it gives you the clarity and strength to face them. This chapter invites you to step out of your busy mind and into the peaceful reality of the present moment. Chapter 7. Letting Go. Letting go is easier said than done, isn't it? Whether it's a grudge, a fear, or an expectation, holding on feels safer, like clinging to a rope in a storm. But Nguyen explains that letting go isn't about giving up. It's about releasing what no longer serves you so you can move forward. Think about it. Have you ever carried a heavy backpack for hours? When you finally set it down, you feel an immediate sense of relief. That's what letting go feels like emotionally. It's not about forgetting or ignoring. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of what you're carrying. Nguyen suggests starting with small things. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, notice your frustration and ask yourself, is holding on to this anger helping me? The answer is almost always no. Letting go in moments like these trains your mind to release bigger burdens over time. Another key idea in this chapter is detachment. Nguyen clarifies that detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means accepting life as it is rather than as you wish it to be. Imagine holding a butterfly in your hand. If you grip it tightly, you'll harm it. But if you open your hand, the butterfly might stay, or it might fly away. Either way, you're at peace. Letting go is a practice, not a one-time event. Each time you release something, you make space for something new. Whether it's a toxic belief, an old regret, or a fear of the future, letting go is the first step toward a lighter, freer life. Chapter 8. Freedom from Judgment. Judgment is a habit you might not even realize you have. You judge others, situations, and most harshly, yourself. Nguyen explains that judgment stems from the ego's need to categorize and control. But this constant labeling creates barriers between you and the world. Imagine walking through a garden and labeling every flower. This one is too bright. That one is too small. By the end, you're so focused on your judgments that you've missed the beauty of the garden. The same thing happens in life. Judging someone's behavior, for example, keeps you from understanding them. Judging yourself keeps you from seeing your own worth. Nguyen encourages practicing non-judgment. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means observing without labeling. The next time you catch yourself judging, pause and ask, what if I didn't label this as good or bad? What if I just noticed it? This simple shift opens the door to acceptance. Non-judgment also fosters compassion. When you stop labeling someone as difficult or wrong, you see their humanity. And when you stop labeling yourself as not good enough, you start treating yourself with kindness. The freedom from judgment is the freedom to experience life as it is, not as you think it should be. This chapter invites you to put down the labels and simply be present with the moment. Chapter 9. The Trap of Overthinking. Overthinking feels like problem-solving, doesn't it? You replay conversations, analyze every detail, and imagine countless outcomes, thinking it'll lead to clarity. But Joseph Nguyen argues the opposite. Overthinking is a trap that pulls you further away from peace and clarity. When you're stuck in your head, you're often adding layers of unnecessary complexity to situations that might be straightforward. Think about a time when you overthought something simple, like picking an outfit for a party or deciding what to say in a message. The more you thought about it, the more indecisive or stressed you felt. Overthinking doesn't resolve problems. It amplifies them. Nguyen explains that clarity arises from stillness, not endless mental activity. Imagine muddy water in a jar. The more you shake it, the cloudier it becomes. But if you let it sit, the sediment settles, and the water clears. Your mind works the same way. When you stop overthinking and allow stillness, solutions often emerge effortlessly. Nguyen suggests practical ways to break free from overthinking. One is to notice when your mind starts spinning and consciously shift your focus to the present moment. For example, if you're caught in a cycle of what if questions, pause and take a deep breath. Bring your attention to something tangible, like the sensation of your feet on the ground or the sounds around you. Another tip is to trust your intuition. Overthinking stems from a lack of trust in yourself. When faced with a decision, Remind yourself that you don't need to predict every outcome. Make the best choice you can with the information you have, and trust that you'll handle whatever comes next. Overthinking keeps you stuck in your head, but peace is found in your heart. This chapter invites you to stop trying to think your way to clarity, and instead let clarity come to you. Chapter 10. Happiness is within. Do you ever think, "I'll be happy when..." Maybe it's when you get a promotion, find the perfect relationship, or achieve a personal goal. Nguyen challenges this mindset, revealing that happiness isn't something you find outside of yourself. It's already within you. Happiness, Nguyen explains, is your natural state. Think of a child playing freely, unbothered by worries or self-doubt. That joy hasn't disappeared. It's just been buried under layers of mental clutter, like fears, insecurities, and societal expectations. The good news? You don't need to chase happiness. You just need to uncover it. Nguyen compares happiness to the sun. Even on cloudy days, the sun is still there, shining behind the clouds. Your thoughts are the clouds. By letting go of negative or limiting beliefs, you allow the sun of your inner happiness to shine through. One exercise Nguyen recommends is gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. Take a moment each day to list 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. Maybe it's the taste of your morning coffee or the support of a friend. This practice trains your mind to notice joy in everyday moments. Another key idea is simplicity. When you stop overcomplicating your life and focus on what truly matters, happiness naturally arises. Ask yourself, what brings me genuine joy? What can I let go of to make space for that joy? This chapter reminds you that happiness isn't a destination. It's a choice. By reconnecting with the present and appreciating what you have, you'll discover that the happiness you've been searching for has been within you all along. Chapter 11. Detaching from outcomes. It's natural to have goals and dreams. But what happens when you become too attached to the outcome? Nguyen explains that clinging to specific results, whether in relationships, career, or personal growth, often leads to stress and disappointment. Why? Because you tie your self-worth to something you can't fully control. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, give it sunlight, and nurture it as best as you can. But you can't force it to grow faster or predict exactly how it will bloom. Life works the same way. When you focus too much on the result, you miss the beauty of the process. Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means doing your best and trusting the process, no matter what the result looks like. For example, if you're working toward a promotion, focus on doing your job well rather than obsessing over whether you'll get the title. This approach reduces anxiety and keeps you grounded. Nguyen also highlights the freedom that comes from detachment. When you're not fixated on a specific result, you're open to new possibilities. Maybe the promotion you wanted doesn't happen, but it leads you to a better opportunity elsewhere. By letting go of rigid expectations, you allow life to surprise you in positive ways. One way to practice detachment is to remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to any outcome. Whether you succeed or fail, you're still whole and valuable. Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting external results define your happiness. This chapter invites you to embrace a mindset of trust and openness. When you let go of the need to control outcomes, you free yourself to enjoy the journey and find peace in the present. Chapter 12. The Beauty of Impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. This truth can feel scary, but Nguyen shows how it can also be liberating. Life's impermanence reminds us to cherish what we have, let go of what we've lost, and embrace the changes that come our way. Think about a sunset. It's breathtaking precisely because it doesn't last forever. If it stayed in the sky all night, it wouldn't hold the same beauty. Similarly, the fleeting nature of life's moments gives them meaning. Whether it's a joyful experience or a painful one, impermanence reminds us that this too shall pass. Nguyen encourages you to accept change rather than resist it. Resistance creates suffering, while acceptance allows you to move forward. For example, if a relationship ends, you might feel devastated at first. But by accepting the impermanence of all things, you open yourself to the possibility of new connections and growth. Impermanence also helps you let go of attachment. When you realize that nothing is permanent, not your possessions, achievements, or even your struggles, you stop clinging to them so tightly. This creates space for gratitude and appreciation in the present moment. To embrace impermanence, Nguyen suggests reflecting on what truly matters. If everything is temporary, what do you want to focus your energy on? Instead of worrying about things beyond your control, invest your time in what brings you joy and fulfillment. This chapter is a gentle reminder that life's beauty lies in its impermanence. By accepting and embracing change, you free yourself to live fully and authentically. Conclusion. In Don't Believe Everything You Think, Joseph Nguyen takes you on a transformative journey to uncover the root of unhappiness and the path to lasting inner peace. Through each chapter, he gently reminds you that the answers you seek are already within you. Hidden behind layers of overthinking, self-doubt, and societal expectations, the central message of the book is both profound and simple. Your thoughts are not facts, and they do not define you. By learning to observe your thoughts without attachment, embracing the present moment, and letting go of the need for control, you free yourself from the mental habits that cause stress and unhappiness. Nguyen emphasizes that this isn't about achieving perfection or erasing all negative thoughts. It's about shifting your relationship with your mind. By practicing awareness, gratitude, self-compassion, and authenticity, you create a life that feels lighter, more meaningful, and aligned with your true self. The book also reminds you of the ripple effect your inner peace can have on the world around you. As you cultivate calm and clarity within yourself, you inspire and uplift others, creating waves of positivity that extend far beyond your immediate circle. Ultimately, Nguyen's insights are an invitation, not just to think differently, but to live differently. This journey requires patience and practice, but the rewards are profound. Each step you take toward understanding and freeing your mind brings you closer to the happiness and peace that have been waiting for you all along. As you close this summary, take a moment to reflect on the lessons that resonated with you most. Maybe it's the reminder to detach from outcomes, the practice of gratitude, or the courage to live authentically. Whatever it is, carry it with you and let it guide your journey.